Welcome to All Ears, the official podcast of the Cedar Rapids Colonels, presented by Miracle Ear. I'm your host and voice of the Colonels, Calvin Cristoforo. On the podcast, you'll hear from past and present Cedar Rapids baseball influencers, including players, managers, executives, insiders, and more.
Cedar Rapids Colonels, let the good times roll.
Back for another episode of the Colonels All Ear podcast, presented by our friends over at Miracle Ear. And we're joined by a friend this morning, Brandon Winokur, Colonels infielder, Colonels outfielder, Colonels do everything guy, joins us in the podcast. Mr. Winokur, thanks for taking the time this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
2 months into the season, you've gotten a taste of Iowa. I believe your first time in the state, in the Midwest area. Is that true? And if so, what have been your impressions so far of the area?
Yeah, no, it is my first time being in Iowa. I haven't spent too much time in the Midwest. I came around here when I was younger, around St. Louis area, but never been up here in Iowa. And honestly, I love it. It's definitely a little bit different than where I'm from, Huntington Beach, California. When I hit the airport, I was a little surprised with the amount of people. There wasn't really anybody. I was kind of walking around. I was, trying to find my bag, and I'm like, this doesn't look like LAX or, John Wayne for where I'm from, but I love it. It's a little quieter. It's a nice, easy, 12-minute drive to the field every day. It's really calm. There's a few really good restaurants. So I've honestly loved it so far. It's been a good taste, so.
There's nothing better than a small airport. And they're just amazing. Easy in, easy out. LAX, not that I've been to LAX, but I've been to LaGuardia. I've been to Boston. The lines, you got to wait for security. Roll in, roll out. You show up an hour before your flight. It's beautiful. I love a small airport.
Yeah, I agree. It's really convenient. Back in Fort Myers, Florida, the airport's decently small, so it was kind of like it was pretty similar to the one here. But this is the smallest airport I've ever been in by far. It's insane, but I love it. So
I think Tallahassee, Florida, is the smallest on my list. You
really
think it'd be a lot bigger with the university? We'll have to ask Jaime, but you think it'd be bigger with the university there? But it's a small airport. That's our airport discussion quota for the day. Something that you had to adjust to, too, was playing in the cold. I believe your first time playing in the cold here in the Midwest. The Midwest schedule makers giving us a very nice present by opening the season in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Your thoughts about playing in the cold for the first time, and what was that experience like?
that was a shock when we were up in Wisconsin. That was crazy. I had never seen. We had a heater that looked like a jet engine in the dugout during the game, and I actually put my bat so close to the heater that my bat started melting. The environment was crazy. I think that, like you said, I've been so used to playing in the heat, spending my summers in Arizona playing tournaments and, spending the majority of my year in California, that it was crazy. I had never had to wear like 3 layers of clothing under, and then still my hands are cold. So it's like, you're trying to throw the ball and it's just like, I don't really have as much feel. But after I got used to it a little bit, luckily it was really the worst parts for about a month. Last week in Fort Wayne was a little cold, but nothing like Wisconsin to start the year. That was absurd. I'd never experienced anything like that.
So it opens the door to the question now, 45 degrees or 105 degrees?
Oh, 105 degrees. I will take that every day.
Really?
Big time. Oh, yeah.
Even if it's gaming?
Yeah. Oh, dude, because the ball flies too. The ball's not. I've hit some of the hardest baseballs in my life in this cold weather, and it does not want to go anywhere. In 105 heat, I remember when I was playing when I was little in Arizona. It's 100 degrees, and yeah, it's hot. It kind of sucks, but like it's way better because you get warm easier. In the cold, I feel like I have to run sprints before I get in at bat, or else I feel like I'm still shivering. So I would take 105 all day.
Well, you grew up playing in 105 degrees in Southern California. Let's talk about your upbringing in baseball. Is there something early in your baseball career, I don't know, T-ball coach, pitched Little League, where it made it click for you and be like, wow, I'm pretty good at this, and I can see myself doing this for a long time?
I played every sport growing up for the most part. Up until high school, I played soccer, basketball, football, baseball, volleyball, everything for the most part. But I always loved baseball the most. I think it was something that just kind of went unsaid for me. I think my family knew too. My dad and my mom knew. We could kind of really see a future in it too. But I think just my love for it really, really started in coach pitch and then my first travel ball team. I always just loved the excitement of like hitting a home run and making an amazing play. And, a lot of people may say like, oh, baseball's a little slower, it's a little boring. Like, I don't watch too much baseball either, but I love playing it. So my love kind of just started from there and just the exciting moments really captivated me. Um, but I kind of always knew it was kind of a lingering feeling. I love playing other sports, love doing other things. But at the end of the day, when I got to high school, I'm like, okay, I knew that this was, I kind of started, I really wasn't like ahead of, many people my age until probably my sophomore, junior of high school. I played on some of the lower travel ball teams, at least like, in the organization, it was like, I had like the one, two, three team. I was playing on the third best team all throughout middle school and then to start high school. And then my sophomore year, I had a little growth spurt. And then I kind of realized like, oh, okay, like this is kind of getting real. So
You sound like me. The only difference is I never got off the third team.
oh man, hey, that's okay. That's okay.
uh, you come from an athletic family too. Both your parents were very good track athletes. Your brother's a college athlete, plays college volleyball. How much did that push you growing up in an environment where sports were the thing, I'm sure, in your household?
Oh yeah, no, we were really competitive between me and my brother and my dad and my mom too. My mom's a total sweetheart. She was one of the most competitive women I know, and she had to kind of dull it down a little bit because if she was competitive along with my mom or my dad and my brother, we would have never gotten anywhere. So she was a sweetheart for that. But my dad really, really, really always pushed me and my brother. And, there are even some people where it's like, whoa, like, dude, your kids are going to quit sports. Like you're so hard on them. Like, this is insane. I remember that was something that happened with my travel ball coach. The travel ball coach was like, dude, Brandon's gonna quit. And my dad's like, no, like he can handle it. Like he'll be good. And I think it was a blessing in disguise. For a long time, I was like, man, this like you are just on me, like this and that. And now the past couple years, I really realized like, okay, that's why he was so, competitive with me and really kind of had me do that. And then my brother too. Me and my brother competed in everything. And I think it was great. Everything from roughhousing to playing flag football and, volleyball. I don't play volleyball with him anymore. He'd run me in that. Um, but yeah, it's just a competitive household. Everything that we did, we had a pull-up bar in our bathroom, and before bed we'd see how many pull-ups we could do. Just little stuff like that. It was always competition. It ended up, kind of making me the man I am today. So,
Without getting your parents in trouble, what's the craziest story you remember in that being pushed era?
oh man, there's a lot. There's a lot. I think it happened, in high school. My parents really knew like, okay, this is where, we don't need you to kind of throw everything out the window. Like we need you to just stay on the straight and narrow. I was committed to UCLA at the time and needed to get, decent grades to get in there. And there was definitely some we'll just say intense verbal arguments about me, just saying like, well, I baseball, like I've been doing this and that. And to be fair, my senior year wasn't spent too much in the classroom, but they were really helping pushing me kind of like be like, hey, look, take care of school, and it makes sense now. I'll do the same thing to my kid, be like, look, take care of school, and then you can go out and baseball is going to be a lot easier when you kind of have that, the plan B of whatever UCLA. And um, but yeah, it was, I mean, that was so like they were just kind of like pushing to stay in that direction. I was never really a partier in high school. I kind of just, I naturally was okay being alone. I liked it. I liked kind of just working alone, but it was more so just me and, my mom and my dad just kind of pushing me, be like, hey, take care of your stuff and then, keep working at baseball. So nothing too crazy.
And you went to a very baseball historic high school, Edison High School in Huntington Beach, a school that's produced a bunch of major leaguers, a top overall draft pick. What was the baseball environment like at Edison that you kind of went into and got into and thrived in?
Yeah. So my freshman and sophomore year, I had two coaches. Coach Finn was awesome my freshman and sophomore year. We spent hours and hours and hours. He was really dedicated, kind of practicing on, whatever it was, ground balls, everything. He really pushed me. I really appreciated that because I was a freshman on freshman, um, my freshman year. I wasn't on JV, I wasn't on varsity. And then, like I said, when I kind of hit my growth spurt and things started clicking a little bit, I was a sophomore on varsity, and it was great. I think we did a lot of winning. My junior year was a little tough. That was the first year with the new coach, and I think we were all trying to kind of find our footing. And then my senior year, we ended up doing really well. We ended up winning league, but the environment was great. I only have good things to say. The new coach Nick Capcelli, I only have good things to say about him. And kind of the players that were on that team. I think that we really kind of cultivated a good group of dudes and had a good culture. Especially my senior year, we went on a high note for sure. But I loved it. I loved it. I loved it so much. I love the teachers at Edison. I still talk to some of the teachers. I'll still, bring them a bat here and there and talk to them. And, there's a lot of really impactful people that were at Edison High School. So I was really grateful that I ended up, being able to go there.
And in the middle of that mix, you mentioned your UCLA commitment, that process going along behind the scenes. Talk us through your college recruitment process and why and how you settled on UCLA.
Yeah. So honestly, my dream ever since I was younger was to play baseball at UCLA. That really was my dream. And me and my dad and my whole family grew up watching UCLA Bruins football. And my grandpa went to UCLA. He played football there. And UCLA was kind of always my dream school. I thought it was kind of the pretty, Hollywood. Like it was magical for me. I always wore UCLA gear. Like I said, I still watch UCLA football all the time. I still follow the baseball team. But for me, it was always my dream. So my junior year, when it came around, when the opportunity, my travel ball coach, John Pano, who's awesome too, kind of put me in contact with the coaches at UCLA. I was like, this is amazing, and I ended up going to campus, looking around, went on my official, and I loved it. I thought it was magical. I thought Jackie Robinson Stadium was amazing. I thought the environment was super cool, great education. So that was it made my decision easy. Honestly, I had dreamed of UCLA forever.
How difficult was it then in the draft to make the decision on signing or fulfilling that UCLA commitment?
It was hard. It was really hard. There was obviously like I said, the education component. You can't trade a UCLA education for anything. That's something that, very little people get to have the opportunity to experience. So that made it really hard. And then the baseball team too. I love Coach Savage. It was hard for me to be pulled away from there, but at the end of the day, my dream's to play Major League Baseball. And this felt like the path that was going to give me the most growth and, learn the most and kind of, throw myself out in the fire a little bit. So I feel like I made the right decision, but it was definitely hard. It was really hard.
Cedar Rapids Colonels, let the good times roll. Hey, Colonels. Hey, Colonels.
Hearing is important to living life to the fullest. That's why inside every Miracle Ear store, you'll find better laughs at family barbecues. You'll find a better life is in store at Miracle Ear when you experience the Miracle Ear exclusive advantage. It starts with our free hearing assessment, plus innovative products that will fit your needs and budget. With free service and adjustments for life, call 319-243-7105 to schedule a free hearing evaluation and find a better life in store. Our local Miracle Ear team is proud to support the Cedar Rapids Colonels.
Group outings are a great way to unwind and enjoy a night out, and we invite you to reach out to our group sales staff and see all the options we have.
Everybody knows when you're at the game, the good times roll. Hey, Colonels, let the good times roll. Cedar Rapids Colonels, let the good times roll.
Enjoy your risk-free trial.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Everybody hear me?
I sure can.
Do you hear me?
I sure can.
So, can you hear well?
Sure can.
Hear well, feel well from your first appointment.
Your local Miracle Ear team is proud to support your Cedar Rapids Colonels. Knock your child's birthday party out of the park with our exclusive birthday party package, designed to make your child's special day unforgettable. Head over to Kernels.com to discover the excitement waiting for you.
Cedar Rapids Colonels, let the good times roll.
What was draft day like for you, getting a call that you were going to be selected by the Minnesota Twins?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. So I there was there were some teams that day one, we were like, okay, this could maybe happen. So I had all my friends over, I had a lot of family over. So day one was honestly kind of tough because those were the first two rounds, and there was a possibility that I was going to be taken to the second round by a few teams. So I thought that that was going to happen, and when it didn't, I was a little bummed. Then the third day comes around, and I won't name any teams here, but there was a team that was like, hey, like we're going to take you, and we're like, great. And then all of a sudden, I had my family in there. It was like my girlfriend, my dad, my mom, a few of my friends, and my dad's over in the corner on his phone. And I'm like, what's this dude doing? Like, why does he get to know before I know? And then he puts his phone down, and I see him start to go like this, like recording. And I'm like, oh my God, this goober. And I see, the Twins pop up, and I was like, whoa, like this is insane. It didn't even feel real. And then they're like, we select Brandon Winokur, and I just started crying. I wasn't one to be like, yeah, like get up, like yeah, man, but like it was so emotional for me because I had worked my whole life, for that opportunity in that moment, and it just like it was overwhelming. I was like, this is the most amazing moment of my life so far. Everything I'd ever worked for kind of came true to that moment. I wanted the opportunity to play professional baseball, and it just spilled over. And so I was crying. I was a mess. And I'm so grateful to the Twins too, because they took a lot of really good guys that draft. And so I was happy to be a part of that group, but it was an amazing experience for me. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's incredible. And you get down, you go right into the fire in Fort Myers, Florida. You play your first full professional season with the Mighty Muscles last season. What was it like playing a full professional year in major league spring training venues? It must be pretty cool that you're going into major league clubhouses for an entire single A season.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. I was definitely spoiled by that, especially coming up to here in Cedar Rapids for at least some of the venues.
Come on.
But I know, no, I know. It is. There's still some really good spots here, but man, Major League Spring Training stadiums. I mean, you can't really beat it. The whatever it is, the lights, the seating, the clubhouse, the showers. It was pretty amazing. I really liked our home field a lot, Hampton Stadium. That was a great spot to start the year. I was kind of like, I don't know if I love it. Like, the stadium's big. It looks like a graveyard. You're standing at home plate. It's like, how the heck am I going to get it out to center field here? And then throughout the year, started putting a few out. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. But I love the stadium. It was really well taken care of. All the other stadiums there were really cool. Even, a stadium like the Daytona Tortugas, I think it is. It's kind of like a smaller, out in the middle of nowhere, all turf field. The fans were kind of rowdy. It was a little like ratchety, but I loved it. I thought it was so cool. So my first year, I loved it so much. I loved every stadium. It was pretty awesome.
And you got to play in closer to 105 than 45 degrees.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that was so much better, I will say.
Big year for you last year with the Mighty Muscles, most home runs for a Fort Myers player in 10 years. How cool was it kind of in your first professional season where things maybe they didn't, but on paper it seemed like they clicked for you down there?
Yeah, I started the year off a little slow, pretty similar to this year, honestly. But for me, I've always kind of been a slower burn. I take some time to get used to the environment, and Fort Myers was kind of that way for me. The first year, I remember the first few games, I was, shaking out in the field because there were so many people, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've never played in front of whatever it was, 2,000, 3,000 people. And so I was like, this is crazy. I was so nervous, this and that. And now it's second nature. I don't think about it, but it was insane just to see how much growing I did, and whatever that was, playing in the field, hitting, playing in front of fans, dealing with, a whole season of trying to stay healthy and, play, every single game. And it was a lot of growing. And on paper, at the end of the year, I was really happy with it. But behind the scenes, it was a grind, man. Like just, you miss your family so much. At least I'm a lover. I miss my family every single day. I keep it in my thoughts. And so that was kind of the first full year. I had my own apartment too. I wasn't staying at the complex, had my own apartment. So I lived on my own for 7.5 months, kind of had to figure out how to do all that, cook for myself, nothing crazy, no crazy meals. It was
What's your
mostly
number
just
one meal?
eggs and pasta.
Okay.
So yeah, eggs and pasta. It's real easy.
Together?
No, not mixed in, not mixed in.
Okay.
Separate. Yeah. But yeah, eggs and pasta. I had my Cholula sauce. I lived and died on that. 2 bucks. It was mostly like I would come home after a game starving. I just do like 8 eggs and like 2 things of pasta, sit down,
Eight
watch
eggs
YouTube.
post game?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Professional athletes too.
yeah, I know it wasn't saying it was humid there too. So we're losing all this water weight. So I'm like, I gotta eat. But yeah, it was an amazing year, kind of living on my own, figuring everything out. So
You gotta find a restaurant that puts that meal together. 8 eggs and pasta. Call it the Winokur.
yeah,
Get a special
yeah,
restaurant downtown. You gotta find some sort of deal to get that
I'd,
hooked up with.
I'd be there every day. I'd be there every single day.
You move up last season from Fort Myers here to Cedar Rapids to begin this year, but you don't move up alone. Your manager, Brian Meyer, makes the jump with you. How much easier has that made the transition for you to come up with a guy that you know how he coaches and how he deals with his players?
Yeah, it honestly made it pretty easy. I love Brian. Like you said, we spent the whole year in low A together last year. Last year spring training a little bit too. This year spring training, so it's a familiar face, and it made it really easy to kind of immerse in the environment here, having him because it was obviously a new thing for him too. His first time up here, so kind of doing that together with him has made it easy, and kind of knowing his coaching style, knowing what I can and can't do, and so I love Brian though. Like it's been awesome. But like I said, it is a little easier kind of knowing like, okay, like, I know that he appreciates this, or I know that when, I do this, like he enjoys it, whatever it is, like I kind of know a little bit more about how his brain works than it would be, a new coach. So it's made it easier for me too.
Stay connected with the Cedar Rapids Colonels all year long by following the Colonels on social media. Catch up with the Colonels on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at CR Colonel.
Big Grove and the Cedar Rapids Colonels are bringing you the ultimate happy hour special. Swing by Big Grove, Cedar Rapids 2 hours before every evening home game and enjoy unbeatable drink specials. Want to make it even better? Purchase the Big Grove Mug Club and score $3 beers during happy hour. Kick off your night with great drinks and good company. Then head to the ballpark for all the action. Big Grove, proudly supporting your Cedar Rapids Colonels.
The Bim Ritter Diamond Shop is a must-see whenever you visit Veterans Memorial Stadium. Located behind Section 113, the Bim Ritter Diamond Shop is full of your favorite Colonels t-shirts, sweatshirts, caps, and replica jerseys. Not to mention dozens of unique novelty items, all with the Colonels' authentic logo. Be sure to swing through while at the ballpark and take home a new Colonels item. Bim Ritter is headquartered in Cedar Rapids. Give them a call for all your apparel and headwear needs.
Talking to Brandon Winokur here on the Colonels All Your Podcast, another episode here in season number 5. Defensively, you're a guy that plays a lot of different positions. You play the outfield, you play the infield. You personally, do you have a favorite position? And if so, what is it?
Man, I get this question a lot, and I'm not entirely sure how to answer it a lot. I think my answer changes. So if any receipts ever come up, I'm kind of screwed. But honestly, I want to try to be as multifaceted as I can. I want to try to stick on the infield as long as I can. It's gotten a little harder since I'm 6'7", kind of having to move around. But I'd say center field, man. I don't want to kind of like shade anything off right now, but it is really fun kind of being able to run free out there and kind of use my arm a little more and a rundown and, the potential to rob a home run is pretty sick too. But I love everywhere. Like I love shortstop. I've been working a little more at third base since some of our guys went down, but I love both so much. Like I played shortstop in high school. I played shortstop my whole life. I played center field during travel ball. I played a lot of center field here, but I would say, I mean, center field is just fun. Like it's just kind of cool. You can be out there. I can have my seeds in my back pocket and just kind of like put it in my glove and, screw around a little bit. So, uh, I love it. I'd say
For now,
51% center
for
field.
now,
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
have a home run robbery in your bag?
Okay. I have one from when I was like 9 years old.
Count it.
And yeah, and my buddy Everson remembers this vividly, but it was like CB Little League All Stars, robbed the home run. But I'm pretty sure that that's the only one that I have. I cannot think of anything in recent past, at least.
So far, we gotta get another one here soon.
Yeah. Oh no,
Okay,
I'd
yes.
love to. I always try to go for it if I can. If I see that ball hanging out there, I'm like, all right, we're gonna climb the wall a little bit. We'll find out if we can grab this thing.
Let's get to some quick kind of baseball adjacent questions here. We mentioned how competitive your family is. Is there like one game night around the kitchen table that you get your family in more often than not? You're excited when this game comes out because you know that you're the guy to beat in this game.
Okay. So this is actually kind of a funny story. My parents are gonna laugh when they see this, but Monopoly, it's a game that I just wear my family down. We would play this game when I was little, and there's a few times where I would literally stay up all night mortgaging houses, like this and that. Like I'm dead in the water. I'm way out of the game, but I'm sitting there and it's 11 o'clock at night. They're like, dude, we want to go to sleep. And I'm like, well, then quit. Like, just quit.
Wear them
And
down.
exactly. So I was not winning, and my brother would he'd get bored, and my dad would get bored, and they'd get tired. So I would end up winning by default, even though they had way more money than I did. I was, a homeless dude as far as Monopoly goes. But that was the one game that we would play that was a lot of fun because I would have to win. I would spend all night like, okay, well then we can keep the stuff here, but we'll play tomorrow. And they're like, no, dude, we're not gonna play tomorrow, whatever it was. I was like, okay, well then I win. Like this is my game.
That's too funny. Wear them down. If you could make one baseball rule change, what do you think it would be? You could change anything.
Oh man. Um, I don't think there's too many things that I would change. I would maybe make the pitch clock a little bit longer. I
Okay.
think that sometimes it feels a little rushed while you're hitting. Um, I think that's about it though. There's not much I would change, man. I think that the game is going in a good direction. I think that there are the strike three challenges that are kind of coming around and whatever it is AAA or low A had last year are a good thing. I think it keeps everybody in check. I think that would be a great thing to add on the major league side because they're not doing that yet, right?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. Just making sure because I haven't watched too much baseball, but um, that's something that I would add. And then maybe make the pitch clock a little bit longer. I think that almost in games like the World Series, just take that off entirely. I just don't even think there's a need to have a pitch clock. Like just let the game kind of roll around a little bit. So I don't know. It's about the only things.
In the minor leagues, you've learned about theme nights. We do a lot of them. Other teams do a lot of them. If Brandon Winokur could put together and design the perfect theme night, what would it be?
We've actually had some really good theme nights. I've done some really good ones so far. Uh, oh man, there's so many movies that I would think of doing. I think that like I'm a huge Marvel guy, so like maybe like a Marvel. I think we actually do that. Like I think
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a Marvel thing, right?
Yeah, we've done it the past couple of years. I believe it's on our schedule this year as well. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. And I wouldn't change a thing. That is the only thing I'd want to do. That or maybe have like I, I want to say, so we've done a Star Wars thing. I don't remember if we do we do a Batman thing too?
We have a Batman one coming up. Yep. Coming up.
I wouldn't change a thing then. Those are perfect. I just want a
Superman.
Marvel and a Batman
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, he wants the superheroes are the theme nights.
Big
Last
time.
one, we'll wrap up with this. if you were not a baseball player, and let's say you're not a different athlete, what would you want to be?
Oh man, I have not spent much time thinking about this, to be honest. Uh, I don't know. You know what? I think I'd have to say a fire captain because my dad is a fire captain back home. It's a noble job. You know, it's it's a hero job, I think, in my opinion. Obviously, I think what he does is amazing. And it was something that I always kind of had in the back of my head. I always loved what he did. I loved how much time he got to spend at home. It was kind of like he would have 2 days there, 2 days completely off. So I think as far as like the family, benefits were great. Like it wasn't like a 9 to 5 where he wasn't there. Like when he was there, he was there. He could take me to school, pick me up, take me to practice. And then when he was at work, he was at work and we would just call him. So I think that was a very fine job. And I think that was something that, if my life was completely different, I would have no problem being a fire captain. I think that's an amazing position.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Well, we thank you so much for the time on this game day, and we look forward to seeing you out in the field some more this season.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. This has been awesome.
Absolutely. Brandon Winokur, Colonel's infielder, Colonel's outfielder on the Colonel's Elliott podcast presented by Miracle Ear.
So, can you hear well?
Sure can.
Hear well, feel well. From your first appointment, try our new nearly invisible solution risk-free.
Your local Miracle Ear team is proud to support your Cedar Rapids Colonels.